Hello Year 8, it's Mr. Heller with some more My Maths work today on percentages and in particular percentage change. Now, quite a lot of the questions here are about percentages in terms of increase and decrease when it comes to money, but understanding percentages is really crucial when it comes to understanding things like wages in terms of money, buying and selling for a profit or a loss, but also things like you'll have heard percentage increase and decrease mentioned when it comes to infection rates for COVID that obviously we're all going through at the moment. Things like percentage increase and decrease when we talk about temperatures and climate change. So there's all sorts of real world examples where percentage change is really important to understand. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the questions that you're going to get in your My Maths task today. So it says to increase an amount by 25%, we're going to multiply by, and then there's a gap. So let's have a look. Our old amount was 100%. Our new amount after a 25% increase is obviously 125%. So it doesn't take a lot of working out to say that I'm going to times by 1.25 to increase by that amount. To decrease by 36%, I'm going to go from an old percentage of 100%. Now our new percentage, because I'm talking about a decrease of 36%, is actually 64%. So our multiplier here is times 0.64. Okay, so if I'm increasing, my multiplier is bigger than 1. If I'm decreasing, my multiplier is less than 1. Don't forget, multiplying by a number less than 1, between 0 and 1, is going to make that number smaller. Okay, so let's have a look. Increase £79 by 30%. Well, 100% is £79. And because I'm going to increase by 30%, I want to know what 130% is. Now, I could jump straight up there just using a multiplier, but a nice method, linking to your unitary method that you did last week, is to first of all divide by 100 to get 0.79, then times by 130. And if I quickly work that out, it's going to come out as £102 and 70 pence. Comes out as 102.7 on the calculator, but obviously because it's money, I'm going to stick an extra decimal place on the end there. Okay, I'm going to increase this amount by 49%. Well, 100% is 660. 1% is 6.6. Divide by 100. I'm going to increase it by 49%, so 149%. Quickly work that out on my calculator as well. 983.4, and because it's context of money, 0.40 for pence. Okay, now when I decrease this amount by 30%, I'm still starting out with 100%, which is 95, but I'm decreasing by 30, so I want to go to 70%. I'm going to go via 1%, which is 0.95. And a swift bit of working out, but exactly the same thing. Divide by 100 times by 70, because I'm finding 70%. You'll notice that you'll notice here actually that I've made a mistake. I've multiplied by 130 here rather than 70, so that should be £66.50. Now I was able to spot that because I know that a decrease by 30%, I should end up with less than I started from. Okay, so let's just do this last one here. I'm going to say that 100% is 870. I'm decreasing by 46%, so I want to work out 54%. I'm going to go via 1%, which is 8.7, by dividing by 100. times that by 54, and I should end up with 469.80. Okay, so if I'd decreased it by 50%, I'd end up with half. I've not quite decreased it by as much as 50%, so I've ended up with a little bit more than half of what I started with. Okay, so I've shown some things here using a unit method, making sure that we're checking our work carefully, and we can increase and decrease an amount. Okay, fairly straightforward as a bit of a warm-up there. Now, I said in the email that we were going to look at some reverse percentage change. So let's have a look at this question here. Jane's salary is increased by 5% to this 42,525. What was her salary before the rise? Well, what have I been given? I've been told actually that after she's had that 5% increase, she's got this wage of 42,525. That's after a 5% increase. I'm looking for what the original amount was. Again, I'm going to go via 1%. So this time I'm going to decrease it by dividing by 105 to find 1%, which is £405. And then times it by 100, 40,500. Okay, if I just jumped straight in and tried to take 5% off that amount, find 5% of that and take it away, it wouldn't give me the right answer because it's 5% of this amount that I'm changing, not 5% of that amount. Okay, so in the next one, we've got a bag of sweets that have got 30% extra free. So 130% is my 52 sweets. 1% is 0.4 sweets. If I divide by 130, and then I want to know what 100% is, times that by 100, and that's 40. Okay, so I divided by 130 to find what 1% was, because I had the amount after an increase, it was 130%. I could play that backwards, couldn't I? I could say, well, 30% of that, 10% would be 4, 30% would be 12, add 12 onto that, and I can check in my head that I get there. Okay, next question, it's reduced by 5%. So in this case, 95% of the selling price is £107.50. 1%, if I divide that by 95 to find 1%, that's £8.50. So 100% is £850. Okay, I've divided by 95 and I've times by 100 to go from 95% to 100%. Let's just check. 5% of that would be half of 85. And if I take away half of 85, which is £42.50, I'm going to end up with that amount there. So that's going to work with a 5% change. But I couldn't add 5% onto that. That wouldn't get me to £850. Okay, just make my 5 a little bit more like a 5 and less like a squiggle. Right, a coat's reduced by 75% in a sale. It's going to be tempting here to think that 75% is £15.50, but it's reduced by 75%. So this £15.50 actually represents the 25% that it's sold for. If I find 1% by dividing by 25, that's 62 pence, or 0.62. So 100% by timesing by 100 is £62. Let's check. If I reduce that by 75%, I'm taking 3/4 of that away. Okay, taking 3/4 of that away is going to leave me with £15.50. I can't do it by adding 75% onto that. I've got to say that that's 25%, find 1%, and then go from 1% to 100%. Okay, so quite a few questions here where we're going to work backwards through an increase, and then we're going to work backwards through a decrease all the time, working out what percentage did I start with and what percentage do I want to end up with, and going via this idea of what 1% is. Okay, there are other methods for this, but this is the method that I'd like you to have a go at because it links quite nicely to that unit method that you saw last week. Okay, so good luck with that. Same questions you'll have, but just with different numbers. Any problems, drop me an email or let me know in the show my homework that you're having difficulties, and I'll jump on and give you some more pointers. Okay, so good luck with that.